Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gooner Gathering. I have returned. Gooner Lee Mead is back after his nice little spell on the sidelines. You can hear the noise. You can see the
Goonermania running wild.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It's good to be here as well, mate. I've missed being on the channel, so thank you for holding the fort. Joined on this news video today by the poshest man in sports entertainment today. Posh Bertie, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It feels like a song by Stain because it's been a while since Gooner Lee was on Gooner Gathering. And you know what? It is so great to have you back. And it's good to be here once again. Good to see you having some fun in the sun. New location.
Absolutely. I've been working on my tan, mate.
Excellent. Yes. And your hair, by the looks of it. Did COVID make you lose all your hair?
Unfortunately, that was one of the symptoms.
Or is that just the stress of watching Arsenal that makes you lose your hair?
No, it's just the stress of doing the technical issues and going together, mate. That's what it is. But be that as it may, we've got quite a lot to cover. We've got some serious stuff to cover. We've got some speculation. We've got some real news that's happening, and we've got some news on a couple of tournaments to talk about. But first and foremost, I want to go into the serious stuff and a little bit beyond your time, Posh, I know, but I did want to talk about the passing of John Hollins, MBE. Passed away. The news was broken by his son today at the age of 76 years old. John was a player for Arsenal a long time ago. He was Player of the Year in the 1981-82 season. It was a European Cup Winners' Cup finalist in 1980. Initially as a midfielder, he was converted into a fullback. Scored 13 goals for Arsenal in 173 games. Also had spells at QPR and Chelsea, who he'd later managed in his career as well. Also, in terms of appearances as a player, he ended up with 714 first division appearances. That is an English top division record for an outfield player, second only to the goalkeeper, name you'll probably remember, in Peter Shilton. So I just wanted, obviously, would you like to have any comment on this one?
Yeah, obviously this was a bit before my time, so I obviously didn't see him play live, obviously, but no. I have heard of the name, and of course, even though you may not know much about someone, it is a shame to see, someone lose their life, especially someone associated with Arsenal and is considered a good player for them. So, yeah, it's my thoughts do go out to his family, and it's obviously really terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was given the MBE award in 1982 as well. So obviously well thought of. I've seen a few tributes from some of that squad, including from Bob Wilson. You remember we talked about Bob, the goalkeeper, in the tier list. A terrible loss, and certainly a name I'd certainly remember from as a Chelsea manager as well. So yeah, like I said, our thoughts from Gooner Gathering go to him and his family. Now, I do want to go in with a little bit of breaking news. This happened probably about an hour ago. Not really connected with Arsenal directly, but it could be. So Chelsea have rejected Man United's opening offer going in for Mason Mount. Now, that offer is believed to be £40 million. Now, he is amongst a lot of other midfielders and players that are currently linked with Arsenal. Obviously, it does seem Manchester United are in pole position for him. Your thoughts on Mason Mount, the £40 million price tag, and what does this mean for him?
Well, I'm not surprised that it was rejected, considering that, what was it? They wanted over 80 million it was, which I think is ridiculous, but that's today's market for you. I know he was linked with Arsenal, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't really want him at Arsenal. We are known for signing cast-offs from Chelsea. We'll get to that in a minute. But no, I mean, He can go to Man United. He can go to United for all I care, because I wasn't really interested in Arsenal signing Mount, and I think he probably will go to United, especially if they get new owners and more money, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I don't know too much about this, but I do believe that there's some progress in the new ownership of Manchester United.
The Qataris are going to be buying them, I think.
That's my understanding as well. So, exactly, fair enough. Well, one player that I think we probably would have definitely wanted ahead of Mason Mount is, of course, Declan Rice. Now that the West Ham have played their, what do they call it? The European Conference League final. That's right. Sorry, the new terminology is very confusing for an old man. So they played their final, and they did jolly well to win it. And I want to say my congratulations to West Ham as well. You might not like this, guys, but I do have a little bit of affinity for West Ham. I do have a bit of love, and it's all to do with my dad's family, and that's that part of East London. But but so it does seem like certainly it seems like West Ham are willing to let him go. I don't know if this is going to happen soonish. Obviously, there's an international break going on as well at the moment, as well as we briefly touched upon on your stream the other day. England are playing Malta on Friday. I don't know if to expect the Rice deal to happen like after the international games, perhaps. But he's certainly the midfielder that I will really want in my prime position, my number one marquee signing, if you like. Your thoughts on Declan?
He's obviously our main target. He's obviously the main player that we need to get, and it looks like everything's progressing well. Did I say this on Twitter or an Instagram comment? I can't remember, but I said one source is saying the deal was done since months ago and that we've made the bid and everything's fine. One source was saying, we're in comprehensive negotiation talks and we haven't made an official bid yet, but it's coming. Which one is telling the truth? Which is believable? Well, that's what I'm wondering. And this is what irks me about, one Arsenal source, saying everything's fine, it's done. And then suddenly, as the days go by, it's comprehensive. We haven't made a bid yet, but we're in advanced negotiations. So, but I think it's likely that we're going to be getting Declan Rice. I think it does look like everything's going to plan, and it might happen as soon as, if best case scenario, some point this week. The base case scenario, probably as soon as next week, and worst case scenario is if Man United hijack it, which is the little rumours. But no, I think it looks like we're going to be getting him, which is good. I do rate Declan Rice. He's a good player, and I know what I'm going to be having for dinner when we sign him.
We're not going to go and do a tangent on egg fried rice, are we?
Lee, if we sign him, I am tempted to do a breaking news video of me eating Uncle Ben's. And I
don't think it's called that anymore.
Oh, there you go. I'll eat some kind of rice. I'll eat jasmine rice then, or something. There you go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Named after a very famous film star. Anyway,
Disney princess. Anyway,
that if you like, I'll explain to you later.
I don't really think I want to know, but okay.
No, probably not. But perhaps moving on a little bit. I'll say this before we move from Declan, is that I'm not going to claim to be an in-the-know journalist or anything like that. I just see what I see. Can you imagine a time, boys and girls, when there was no Twitter around and all this speculation when people trying to get notoriety and getting them clicks on the buttons, Can you imagine a time where that wasn't around and we had to look at newspapers and then keep it to your mates down the pub? Can you imagine, eh? It's a simpler time, boys and girls. Simpler time. Okay, then. So we mentioned a little bit of Chelsea, and I think what always makes these streams very interesting for me is having someone I really respect and will have a different opinion with on certain subjects. Now, that has been broken this evening through various outlets. I believe Orney's on this, and there's a few others. I hope you're not going to throw up any signs today with Ornstein, no?
No.
You're not going to throw up any drawings? No.
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
I'm not going to. No. Ornstein's actually a respectable journalist, unlike the one you're referring to, but go on.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So, obviously, we're talking about the Kai Havertz from Chelsea, German 24-year-old player, has rather out of left field being spoken about in terms of coming to Arsenal. Now, this is a player that is going to divide opinion, I think, perhaps between the two of us. But let's give a bit of background before we go, and let's see how this goes. So, he's 6'4". He's got a good height. He can play as a striker. He can play off a striker. He can play in midfield. A product of the Bayer Leverkusen Academy. He was the youngest ever debutant there in the Bundesliga and their youngest goal scorer. In 118 games for Leverkusen, scoring 36 goals. I have been doing my homework, haven't I? Are you impressed?
Yeah.
I'm a broadcast journalist.
There you go. Incredibly professional.
Absolutely, of course. I actually have proper notes rather than drawings. Chelsea paid £72 million for him in 2020. I think it'll probably be fair to say I don't think he's set the world alight with his time at Chelsea, right? He's played 91 games. He has scored 11 goals. He is, however, a Champions League winner with Chelsea, and he did score goals in the final. He won the UEFA Super Cup for them. He provided the assist for Ziyech's goal, and he also scored in the 2021 FIFA Club World Cup. Now, I think it's probably pretty clear that we do need to upgrade our striking options. Now, we have mentioned on previous streams the likes of Eddie Nketiah, who had his moments last season, but is he really going to establish himself as a number one striker? Is he of that ilk to do that? Possibly not. I made a video, if you remember, last year for Cannon Chatter, how I thought it was a good signing. And the very back end of that video said, at the very least, if we sign him with this new contract, it means that there is a bit of sell-on value. Now, that is still my belief. If he stays, great. If he goes, that's fine. Obviously, we will need to replace him. So tell us your thoughts on Havertz and your thoughts of acquiring potentially another player from Chelsea. Doesn't sound like you're awful keen, to be honest.
We do look well. Let me do a little cheap plug on someone else's YouTube channel. I
absolutely
explained.
Do so.
We're in actually. Can I just say, first of all, this is a pre-recorded video. We can pull back the curtain. So
yeah,
I'm explaining it in the present tense at this time because anyway, I explained my views on Havertz on youtube.com/Egal Talks Football. Egal, as Arsenal in the Arsenal community, is quite a big name, fair to say. And it was great to be on his channel. And I was on there just for a bit talking about the Havertz transfer. So please go and check that out. So
I'll put the link in the description when I can, mate. All right.
Yeah. He told me to put a link at pulling back the curtain on his channel. He told me to put a link to our channel in his private chat, which I did. So hopefully he'll
superb.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, Kai Havertz. Now, we do need to upgrade our striking options if we're going to try and make a proper good title challenge. That's right. But I'm talking about a striker that actually knows how to find the back of the net. Kai Havertz has, apart from the Champions League final, he's not done that much at Chelsea. And it reminds me, I know this might sound like doom-mongering, but it reminds me of when we signed David Luiz in 2019. A lot of fans were excited about it and saying, woohoo, we're getting a defender. It's David Luiz, yippee! And he turned out to be absolutely dog. And I just have a feeling that when we're getting a striker who does not score very much, and let's be honest, I know pretty much a lot of people in that Chelsea team weren't very that good this season, but Havertz, even when even it's 2 seasons ago now, even then when Chelsea were under Tuchel, apart from the Champions League final, he wasn't entirely known for finding the back of the net, as far as I was concerned. And just because you scored, and I said this on Igal's stream, just because he scored 1 goal in the Champions League final doesn't make him a world-class, phenomenal player. Just because he's a Champions League winner doesn't make him the best player in the world. Michael Owen won the Champions League with Man United. Let's not forget. But yeah, just to clarify, Michael Owen was a phenomenal striker when he was at Liverpool, not when he was at United. He was getting on a bit then. Anyway,
I was going to say, but yeah, as I was parts of their career, I would suggest there, mate. But even Owen would have said himself that a lot of his game was based on his pace, and a lot of that had gone. But
okay,
carry on.
Here's another player, Bebe. Remember Bebe when he was at United? He won the Champions League with him. Is he a world-class player? But I'm not comparing those two either. Havertz, no, it's not for me. We always like to sign players from Chelsea that Chelsea want to offload. We're like almost a feeder club to them almost. And it's not right, because the times when we've signed players that Chelsea want to offload, some of the times it's worked. Some of the times it hasn't worked. Case in point, Willian and David Luiz and everything. I just don't think it's going to work, because Havertz hasn't got. We've seen he's not got what it takes to find the back of the net, I'm afraid. And if he does sign for us and does incredibly well, I will be prepared to say sorry and eat my words, like I did with Jorginho. But as of right now,
that's where I was going.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be the right signing for us. And with 75 million for him, even in today's market, is extraordinarily. It's extraordinary. And if we give Chelsea the 75 million, they're going to have the funds they need to steal old Moises Caicedo from us.
Now,
no one's thought of that.
Yeah, I actually, someone did, and there's something I had thought of as well. And what sort of position are Chelsea in terms of FFP is part of my thinking. There are suggestions that the fee may be a little bit cut price. Now, I'm not saying that's so Arsenal, whatever. I don't know. It's just what I'm hearing. It's just what is being reported. Obviously, with the Abramovich situation and all that sort of thing, you've got to think about Chelsea not qualifying for Europe at all next season. That is a reason in itself. They are going to have to trim their squad. They're going to have to reevaluate things. Bear in mind, some of their income coming into the club is going to be less because of the TV rights and all that sort of stuff that's also coming in. But taking it back to the player, do you know if the manager, obviously there's clearly something going on in there, whether they're just testing the water on it or whatever it is. If it is a player that Arteta believes in, if it's someone that he thinks will do a job for us and will improve our other options, do you know what? I might be for it. I'm not going to say it's going to be the be-all and end-all in terms of the options, because I'm on record as saying I do think there's going to be an awful lot of movement in this window, coming into the club, coming out of the club. It almost feels to me like going into another era, if you like. But, I mean, is there another striker, for example, that can come to your head? And it's a little bit random. It's difficult for me to answer, especially because a lot of the European football, I'd see all the Premier League and all that sort of stuff. I don't really get a chance to see an awful lot of the other leagues because I'm a very busy boy, as you know. But
yeah,
do you know if that lad Mbappe is available, I think we should get him.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah, I hear he's quite a decent player. I think he might be all right. One for the future, I suppose. There is another striker that has come to mind, and that's Vlahovic from Juventus. Of course, we were linked with him. In 2022. And speaking of teams that are in very bad financial situations, Juventus are on a bit of FFP, I think, problems as well. They were deducted a number of points last season. Yeah. I think that was rescinded, though, but I think they're still in. Are they going to start the season on minus points? Sorry?
Oh, okay. I thought the points deduction was back. I thought it was active, but I'd have to double check that. I didn't know.
Yeah, it was rescinded.
So I could have a look at that.
I don't know if they're going to be starting next season on minus points. I'm not sure, but they're in a bit of problems financially, and I think they'll be looking to offload some players. Vlahovic is a fantastic striker. I wanted him in January of 2022. He is capable of scoring 20 goals a season. I think he is a much better get than Havertz. But then again, when the main aim was Rice and Caicedo, and you've got only 200 million as the budget, I suppose you do need to sell some players to it's a sell to buy situation to get some more money into it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like you say, I do think it does look rather like we are going to do a bit of selling. It does look rather like Granit Xhaka is going to head back to Leverkusen, strangely enough, as we mentioned previously. There are a few rumblings going around the place that hybrid right back Thomas Partey could be moving out of the club. I don't know if that's potentially to maybe finance the Rice deal, perhaps even the Caicedo deal. Because if you remember, in January, they did say that they were put in place for Rice and Caicedo. Now, I'm not saying, I'm just being a little bit greedy because I think that upgrade in the midfield would be fantastic, and I'd love to see that. Being that Partey is that little bit older.
Yeah, and he's kind of fallen off a bit, hasn't he, since he got that injury?
I felt his form was pretty terrible for the last sort of quarter, maybe a little bit more of the season. I think that doesn't sound like the worst move in the world. There's another issue as well, of course. I don't know his international status. The African Nation Cup does mean that he will miss a rather big chunks of football mid-season, whenever that will be next.
It's around January, February time, AFCON.
That's what I thought, So, with that's going on in the background. We'll see if there's anything else to go on from there. Anything else you want to cover from there before I move on?
You mentioned Partey potentially being involved in the Caicedo deal. Yeah, Posh Bertie's mentioning Caicedo again. Big surprise, right? Do you think?
Yeah, I know. I was going to get a graphic or something.
Yeah, put my head on Caicedo's body or something. I don't know. Do you think? I'm not saying I want this to happen because I don't want it to. But do you think we could be in a situation where Partey goes to Brighton and Caicedo goes to Arsenal?
I don't see it.
No.
The move along to Premier League, I probably don't.
I can't see it either. But it could be one of the potential crazier situations. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm not saying it will. But you never know. Crazy things have happened. But I don't want it to happen.
I would imagine for a number of reasons. I think it's more likely if Partey was to leave Arsenal, he'd possibly be moving to another country.
Yeah.
But that's just this man's opinion. Like I said, for quite a bit of the season, yeah, he did play quite well, and we had some tremendous moments with Bertie in the season. Let's be honest, he rather bossed the midfield for quite a long time. Had a particularly good game in the North London derby. Let's not forget about that. One of the moments of our season, I think, that long range effort.
The goodness gracious great balls of fire moment. Yes,
we would have been screaming about that for ages.
Speaking of which, we need to do that Gooner Gathering end of season awards at some point, which will hopefully do that.
It'll be, just full clarification for everyone watching, that's going to be a whole silliness stream. It's going to be completely light-hearted and fun. Nothing to do with official awards or anything. It's just going to be a load of silliness and nonsense, which is what you'd expect from us.
Which is all right, because we usually do that anyway.
But and to be honest, it'll be quite a nice break. We're in the summer break now. I don't know how many sort of broadcasts we can keep on doing. I'm not a massive fan of the speculation streams and stuff like that. If something happens, I'll talk about it. I definitely will go for a live broadcast as and when something is signed and sealed. That's kind of my plan for the channel for the summer. But like you said, we will talk after we've closed this down, see when we can do something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So let me move on a little bit. I will go to Emil Smith Rowe. I'll talk about Emil Smith Rowe next. There he is, everybody. If you've forgotten what he looks like, because to be fair, it has been a little while since we've seen him. Turns out Emil Smith Rowe has been selected by Lee Carsley. If you remember who Lee Carsley is, former Everton midfielder. He's the current manager of the England under-21 squad. Emil Smith Rowe has been called up to the England 23-man squad for the under-21 European Championships that's been held in Romania and Georgia this month. He is the only member of the squad with full international experience. If I'm right in thinking, he's got 3 full caps under Gareth Southgate. I won't go through the whole list of the squad because there's some players that are not really household names, shall we say. But there's a few I will bring out in the defence. Max Aarons of Norwich, Luke Thomas of Leicester. There's a pair of midfielders from Liverpool, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Jacob Ramsey, of course, of Aston Villa. The outstanding Morgan Gibbs-White, who played for Nottingham Forest and had a superb back end of the season. Anthony Gordon.
We made him look like prime Messi, but anyway, carry on.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon, Newcastle, obviously former Everton player. And the young Man City forward, Cole Palmer, is included in that squad as well. Your thoughts on Smith Rowe being an experienced man in this squad? Obviously, I believe he's played a part in a behind-the-scenes friendly. Played 60 minutes there. Clearly hasn't played a lot of football all season. He's literally made a couple of cameos. He's had a horrible season, injury disrupted, and perhaps a bit of growth spurt going on in the young lad as well. But your thoughts of Emil going with England this summer?
First of all, the players you mentioned there, that's a very, very good squad for the England under-21s. It's just a shame they won't get a feature when Southgate prefers to play 10 centre-backs in his lineup. Oh, well. But Smith Rowe, it's good to see him it'll be good to see him get hopefully a great amount of minutes in that squad, because he needs to get that match fitness back up and running, especially if he is playing an important role, if the rumours are to be believed, next season, and needs to get more game time. Also, I looked him up. He's 22 and he's in an under-21 squad, so he's practically a grandpa in that. He's an old man in that squad. So, he can offer the experience, I guess, which is odd, because he's quite a young player. But I'm glad to see him get more minutes, more game time. He needs that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it might be his second under-21 tournament that he'd be playing for England. So that would be very good for him. And if he can get some game time as well, that's only going to improve his outlook potentially for the new season coming ahead. Don't forget, we've got the fixtures being announced tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So that's worth keeping an eye on. Just to move on, just another little thing. I have another little picture I'm going to put up, and this is Lotta Rubens-Moy. I know you weren't expecting to see her here, but just a really quick bit of breaking news. There was some concern whether the British broadcasters would be showing the Women's World Cup, but as announced by FIFA just this evening, ITV and BBC have got the rights to show the coverage. So I need to find out kickoff times and all that sort of thing, and how this channel will cover that tournament. We'll definitely have some sort of coverage over the summer, depending on my work schedule and stuff like that. We'll see what we can do with that. But that was breaking news about half hour before we're due to hit the record button this evening. So that is going on. Now, is there anywhere else I need to go? I suppose we're talking, obviously lots of movement going on in the transfer market. You're obviously still quite a little bit upset about the old bottle job, stuff that happened with Arsenal at the back end. How hopeful are you of Arteta getting some decent business done, get it all over the line, and us to be competing for a busy season, which I think is going to be certainly higher profile, with the Champions League fixtures being played into that factor as well?
Next season, it depends on our transfer window. It depends on who we get. And it depends on one Edu Gaspar and how well he does in terms of getting the players that we need. And considering we're getting Kai Havertz, the alarm bells are ringing already. But like I said, with next season... Sorry?
I said potentially.
Potentially. It's all rumour and innuendo, but I'm saying if. Yeah. But people talk about some Arsenal fans having higher standards than others or having lower standards than others. I think all the fans are going to have high standards next season, because we've seen Arsenal now challenge for the league title. Yes, we slipped up at the end, but we spent a heck of an amount of time that season at the top. And we're in the Champions League for the first time since 2016. So first time in 8 years. So that's going to be massive. And so the standards from all fans are going to be incredibly high. And it'll be interesting to see the reaction if we don't live up to them.
Yeah. Just behind the camera, I think we might have to wrap soon, because I'm having a couple of technical issues on my phone. There's one other story I do want to bring up as quickly as I can, then we'll wrap it up. And it's to do with the young kid. If you remember Havertz Nwaneri, this is the young man who made a brief cameo against Brentford in September last year. He would have been 15 there. He's a midfield player. Labelled as a number 10, can play in any attacking role, wide or central. So there's a bit of concern going on that his scholarship is coming towards an end, I believe, and concern that we could lose the young man. There's a bit of speculation of him going to Chelsea and stuff like that. Other clubs interested. Now, I wanted to put a bit of comparison real quick with a player that left us in the summer last season. There he is. That's Omari Hutchinson. So similar sort of position, winger. He's a little bit older, of course. He's 19 years old, but he left Arsenal for a free transfer last summer. His development since going to Chelsea, he's had one first-team appearance for Chelsea. I would worry very much if Ethan, as a young prospect who we've seen getting rave reviews by the management, by Arteta and everybody.
Oh, he has gone. And you can't really see me because there's a big picture of youngster in the way. Hello. Okay, so my thoughts on this. Yeah, I saw him. Come on. Oh, hello. Here he is. He's back. Hello.
You still there, Bertie? Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I'm still there.
I told you I was having difficulties. So
okay.
Anyway,
I was just saying what my thoughts were.
Don't let me stop you then, son, because I'm going to have to wrap it up soon.
Well, my real thoughts are I don't have much because I don't know much about him. He did come on against Brentford. Didn't see much of him. We just had a joke about, oh my god, a 15-year-old's in the team. Is he the youngest player in the Premier League history? And he was. Yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen to him. I don't really have much thoughts, to be honest. I hope he goes on to do really good things. Yeah. Born in 2007.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes you feel blimmin' ancient, doesn't it? I know it certainly does with me. I just worry to see a really talented, certainly a young lad who is certainly got a lot of promise and is highly thought of with the club. To see it potentially leave the club would be terrible.
Yeah.
To see him go to Chelsea in a club that doesn't tend to invest too much in the, you know what I mean, in terms of a youth project and stuff like that. I really hope something better will come for him. But I think on that note, Posh, because I am having technical issues and I do think my phone might die.
Okay.
I will pop up the social media there, mate. So where can they find you on Twitter, sir?
It's at Posh Bertie. I've got Instagram as well, at Bertie Wanless.
Fantastic. You can find me at Gooner Lee Mead. You can find all of the team at Gooner Gathering. Cheers for watching the stream. It's been really nice to be back, and keep an eye on the social medias for upcoming streams and news videos that we are going to plug. So thanks all for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.